supplies, but you need a place to track your stuff, cause you're so disorganized. You click open your web page, you heard about a critical role, and now you're ready to kick some butt in that mine shaft full of no's. It's TNT, TNT Beyond, yeah, TNT, TNT Beyond. You got your stats, you got your souls, and you got your invisible world. It's TNT, TNT Beyond.
Hello, everyone at home, and hello, everyone in the room with us. Thank you guys for joining us. I am Adam Bradford. This is Todd Kenrick. Today is our development update and community Q&A session. We're going to go through. See, they're seeing us on TVs right now.
Yeah.
And they're seeing us very delayed.
Yeah.
So we're doing this live. We are live from GaryCon 2019. That's what.
Yeah, I
year we're
think
in,
that's
right?
the year.
Yeah. So 2019 GaryCon, and the internet, we will see what happens, actually, to be honest. Like, we might lose you guys halfway through this. If we do, know that we love you, even though the stream ends, whatever happens.
It'll be like the snap. It'll be
Yeah.
like Thanos. Like, they'll
Yeah.
still be somewhere else, right? Like in Soul Stone.
Soul Stone, yeah.
Yeah.
Or the quantum realm.
Oh, there's
or
two
where-
dimensions. Yeah, that's the other theory.
Wherever they are.
Like, he just split the party.
Yeah. That's all it is.
Yeah.
And then phase 4 is going to be, they're going to be in an entirely different pocket of the multiverse.
It's got to be
or
Wolverine,
whatever.
Iron Man.
Oh,
Iron Wolverine.
That's not this show. So we're talking about D&D Beyond, but we will just start streaming, MCU findings and ramblings.
Yeah, let's start doing that. I'm
Sure,
down.
whenever we have time.
As long as we stat them up. We have to stat every MCU character. We have to keep it
Easy to do.
D&D.
I mean, is Thanos is he a 30 or is he 24? Like, I feel like he's not quite like deity level, really.
Like chest size? No.
No. Challenge rating.
Yeah. I feel
He's definitely chest.
I don't think he's that much of a challenge rating without the stones, and I know he can like beat up Hulk, but Hulk has no style, so Hulk is all barbarian, and that's why Thanos can like break his collarbone. You can be all angry as you want to be, but once you have a broken collarbone, it doesn't matter.
How did we get back here again?
It's still D&D.
All right, so we're talking about D&D Beyond. So as always, here is today's lineup. Latest updates. Going to talk about that just a little bit. We're going to talk about what is upcoming. I'm going to let Todd, since he is here and he is available, we're going to let him talk about the original content roadmap and kind of some of the things that we are going to try to accomplish this year on that. Just like with any kind of roadmap, understand that these are targets, and we might not always hit the targets, but these are things that we're planning to do. And then we will open it up quite a bit for questions. There might be some legendary bundles involved at some point here for people here and for people at home. So we'll try to figure that out on the fly as well. We can go ahead to the next thing. So let's talk about what we have been doing lately. Again, I think you guys are going to see it in just a little while sometime. That's quite a delay. There we go. So mega menu. So we've pretty recently put in some changes for the main site navigation when you're on desktop. And I think that as of the end of this week, we're going to be in a really good spot with that, really across the board, again, with desktop down into the larger tablet sizes. So some of the feedback that we got immediately, we talked about this a little bit last week, but the immediate feedback was, hey, we like how this looks. We like that our mouse is no longer sliding off the little columns that, the menus that would come down and all that cascading. So we were accomplishing a lot of those goals, pretty strongly, which is good, and we like to see that. But as always, we want to listen to feedback as much as we possibly can. And the feedback pretty early and pretty often was this sources menu, it looks pretty, but it's not doing what we need it to do. And to kind of let everybody have a little bit of a peek into our process, the things that we do is a lot of times when we are doing an initial iteration for something like this, we try to base this on as much data as we can. So all the data that we have available to us, we looked, we saw where people were clicking. We have analytic tools that let us show heat maps of where people are, all this kind of stuff is what we consulted. But then we also do a good bit of internal testing. We have some other folks that we kind of let play test and widen that circle a little bit. Those circles are never going to be as wide as the actual community circle, though, when we release this and all of our users get their hands on it. And so I can tell you that the sources menu had us the most conflicted over what we needed to do. And so at the end of the day, we ended up just kind of starting somewhere and getting that feedback. And the good thing about that, I've talked about this before, is if you're going to fail fast. We take that pretty seriously, because at the end of the day, we can't know what we can't know, right? And it is a really, really great step to be able to get that validation from the community pretty quickly to say, hey, this isn't working. Sources menu was not working. We immediately went back to see what the problems were that people were bringing up with that. And of course, as we're going through that process, there's a lot of culling and a lot of fine tuning that we have to do to make sure that we're getting rid of the noise of, oh my gosh, I hate this because you have changed my whole life now. I go to this site every day and I don't know what to do anymore. All the drama, we'll call that. We've got to kind of separate that a little bit from, what is the root cause of what the problem is. And so a lot of times with that sources menu, it was that I am having to go too far to now access something that I could access within a click or so before. And a lot of this was adventures. So we've got a lot of adventures on D&D Beyond at this point in time. I have no idea what you guys are running. Like, what are you running any of the official D&D adventures right now?
No.
None right now. Homebrew stuff. Anybody running anything? What are you running?
Well, I'm actually running an Age of Wardens campaign.
Okay.
I'm also running Princess of the Apocalypse.
Okay, Princes of the Apocalypse there. Who else? What are you running? Tomb of Annihilation.
I'm sorry for your players.
Yeah. So we're already seeing, like, immediately that those are on different sides of the spectrum of release date and anything else, right? So this is where we're seeing that the back catalog of D&D is being played. Even the old Princes of Apocalypse was way back. What was that? 2015, right? So that was a long time ago. It's a great adventure. People haven't maybe played through it yet. They're going to go into it and they're going to step into it and start playing it. So we've got a much better solution for what's going on with mega menus at this point. And we also saw very similar feedback for our creations and game rule sections. So you'll see that as of this week, all 3 of those menus have been updated. I think they're in a really good spot. I'm not saying that they're perfect. We're going to continue to look at feedback. We're going to continue to hopefully incorporate. We've got some great ideas from the community that, trust me, we've had for some time. That most of the time these aren't new ideas. It's ideas as to whether we can implement them immediately or not. But some really good ideas about starring or pinning or favoriting certain items to where they are right there in your face when you open those menus. There are trade-offs for that kind of functionality, though. Most of the time in main navigation, you want that to be pretty snappy, right? Because that's going to literally load on every single page that you visit on the website. And so the trade-off there is the more customization we allow you to have, the more performance is going to take a hit. And so we've got to really, really fine tune some of that to try to figure out, what is that proper balance between letting you customize, letting you get to the things quickly and easily, and not taking too much of a page load hit, because we really care quite a bit about that, especially the way that, as pretty as a lot of our things are, like, we do want it to be a pleasurable experience for your eyeballs when you're on D&D Beyond. And so we don't, we could, strip this down to the most base thing that looks like just a word processor file. We could do that, and it would probably be slightly faster than it is now. But even with everything else that we're loading on DDB, we are very serious about page load times And we don't get a lot of complaints about it just being too slow, which is a good thing. And we want to maintain that level of fidelity when it comes to that, but then allow you over time to have some customization. So we're going to continue to look at that. But I am
not.
He's not going to look at that. But I use juggling a whole lot. So when there's a lot of stuff on our plate right now, a lot of things that we're trying to bring to the community. So when it comes to mega menus, one of the things that I would say right now is we feel like we've kind of juggled with it for a little while here. We've gotten some feedback. We've put some changes in place. We've iterated to a point where I think we're in decent shape, and we've kind of thrown the ball up a little bit. We're probably not going to come back to it very, for the foreseeable short-term future. But as we incorporate feedback over time, we will revisit it again and do some additional passes. One other thing that I wanted to call out for mega menus is we did end up on tablet. Previously, you could not access the menu on tablet because, if you can imagine, you can't hover on a tablet, right? Like, so even when we made these changes, you couldn't do that on tablet. So now the way it's working, we had to sacrifice something, and I'm letting you guys know that trade-off. The way for this to reliably work on a tablet, I'll put it that way. There are some hacky things we could do, but we don't want to do that because it's not going to be reliable over time, especially the way that Google changes things all the time with Chrome and all that. So we've made it to where if you're on a tablet, you're going to be able to click, and the menu is going to drop down and open, and then you can click again. And so you can use that on the larger tablet sizes, but then you still can hover on desktop to reduce the number of clicks. And the way that we had to do that is those top level items now are not links. Okay, so you're not going to go directly to sources. If you click on sources now, it's going to either hover or let you click. And then in order to go to that landing page or that splash page, you're going to have to click one of the view alls there. So we think that that's an acceptable trade-off. And that's the reason that we've gone that direction. And I think, again, we've seen a lot of positive reinforcement, and we think that, we can throw the ball up in the air a little bit. All right.
I want to know about the encounter builder. That's why I care about it.
That's wonderful, Todd, because that's next on the list. Thank you for that. Thank you for that segue. So the encounter builder, I told everybody at home, especially over the last few weeks that we've had, we're going to start giving you a little bit of a peek into even our sprint goals. So how many of you are familiar with agile methodology, like development methodology? Okay. So agile methodology, the whole point here is that in the organization I was in before I joined Curse and now Fandom, as I was working with developers in those environments, we worked in what was called a waterfall approach, which was you plan this, you plan this, you plan this. Everything has dependencies, everything has prerequisites. You just go in this very monolithic way toward trying to hit this target. The problem that a lot of development companies have figured out, especially at this day and age, is that by the time you start here and you have target here in a waterfall, most of the time you never hit what the original target was, and you're probably wasting a good bit of time trying to figure out what that was. We okay?
No, we're fine. I always
fine?
hit my target.
Here.
I don't know about you.
Jiggle the mouse every now and then if I forget, like we're.
It's your mouse.
Yeah, it's okay.
I feel like that's your responsibility.
All right. So basically, maybe I'll just hit the table every
Yeah.
Oh no!
Thank you, everyone at home.
I broke it.
Yeah, you just destroyed the.
This is unbelievable.
No, it's fine.
Okay.
Let's not hit it. Let's stop hitting the technology.
That's a very finicky table, or cable there. All right, so cable on the table. All right, so ultimately, with agile methodology, the idea is you break this into smaller iterations where your target is much sooner, and you can validate whether you're hitting that target along the way, right? So with these sprints, we have 1 and 2 week sprints, depending on the team that we're working with here. And the goal for last time was to get real math and real monsters working for our encounter builder. and that did get completed. So I've seen this. We're not showing you guys yet, but we've got real math. We've got everything's calculating properly. There are real monsters and not just cats in there anymore. If you saw that preview before, so all of that is working currently. You can go to a special URL that is not publicly available yet, but it is actually working on the website. So we are getting closer and closer to our alpha access here, where you guys are going to start to get to play with it. If you're a subscriber, you're going to get to start playing with this. You're going to get to start providing feedback for that. And the idea is we want that feedback early and often, where we can, just like with mega menus, where we can iterate and we can fix things very quickly along the way.
Yeah,
right?
we don't want to suck. So yeah, if something needs to be improved, let us know right away.
Yeah.
we will improve it.
I probably should have just said that, and then I could have saved a lot of breath. And we don't want to suck. So
well, I'm eloquent like that.
Yeah,
so.
very very well spoken, Todd. All right, so the mobile beta character sheet. So this is an example of a little bit of a trade-off here. So we talked about our sprint goal essentially being that we were trying to get this internal build released for the mobile beta character sheet, and we did not quite hit that target because I don't know if you guys heard about this artificer thing happening. So this artificer unearthed Arcana playtest content
I know
released. Yeah, we know all about the artificer, especially at this point. And so as soon as we had that available to us, we switched off. So in an agile environment, again, the priorities can sometimes change. We understand that there is a rabid audience out there that wants this iteration of the artificer available on D&D Beyond. So
some of us more vocal than others.
Some of us, yes. So the work in progress on that is as we started to really take a look, and Wizards of the Coast was working on this. It was not final. It was not hard concrete until pretty late in the process. Okay. So as we started to get our hands on it and started to consume what was going on with the class, it became apparent that we could solve about 70% of the class just with the existing systems that we already have in place. But we knew that the moment that we released that and you were not able to add your homunculus to your artificer, that we were going to probably, to be honest, cause more confusion, cause more support tickets, cause more forum threads and everything else, even if we had messaged it to say, hey, this is going to cover you for about 70%. The rest of this, we're going to be working on it over time. We have seen over the years here that does not do incredibly well because that messaging is not prevalent enough and it doesn't kind of pervade the community enough. And so we are going to do a little bit of a more firm pass on the artificer before we get it out there into the community to hopefully eliminate as much confusion as we can. But even with that, there are going to be some things that are not going to maybe work exactly how we want them to end up working in the future. Because, for instance, infusions is a pretty wild ability, okay? So what's going to happen when you see this release? And by the way, we do hope that the artificer is completed before the end of this next sprint. So again, this is a target. We would love to see this get out by next week. Okay.
Yes.
I barely ever give dates. So first of all, there's a pretty high level of confidence that we'll have it in place before next week. But there could be something that goes wrong also, and we might not hit next week. So I want to, majorly caveat that. But we hope, and the target is by next week we will have something in place. So when you get to infusions, you're going to have all the choices. You're going to be able to choose which types of infusions you have. You're going to be able to track how many infused items you have out there.
Right.
But we're not going to, the way that we're going to handle infusions, and to be honest, this might be the permanent solution for them, is through magic items themselves. Because for all intents and purposes, when you infuse an item, that item becomes a magic item, right? So the idea is you're going to be able to track what you need to on the class side of that in the character sheet. But then we're going to have some, at least initially, we're going to have prompts saying, go to manage equipment and add the item to your inventory or your party's inventory or whatever there, right?
And will we have like a symbol next to those infused items in the magical item category so that we know?
They will be tagged, yes. So that is the concept, is those infused items will be tagged. But again, it's in the future, I think the improvement that might happen. So for instance, if and when the Artificer gets published in a product, I suspect we would include another layer where maybe those items were giftable right from your feature, and they could be added to your inventory directly, or party inventory, or whatever else we might introduce this year. And then you can, slide them into your friends and your allies inventory. That is very likely to be the end state of that. But here in this initial pass, you will at least be able to track which infusions you know, how many you have out there at one time. And then the infusions themselves will be available as magic items that you can add via the manage equipment screen. So that is an example of a pretty complex problem for us that we haven't had to solve before. There are other things like increasing attunement slots. That's easy. We'll be able to sort that out. You'll end up coming out of that with a new modifier type. So if you're homebrewing things, you can add attunement slots. A certain number of attunement slots to your character. So if you're a dungeon master and you allow people to have additional attunement slots, you will be able to replicate that and make that work with homebrew as well. But yeah, that's the latest on the Artificer, and we do think that we're going to be pretty close here. Did I see a question or something? Anybody?
I was going to ask about party inventory and attunement, but you covered it.
Yeah, I read your mind. That's one of my. It's just a daily ability. That's the only time I can do it. I got a long rest before I can do it again.
Some of the magic items, some of them I had to add it as an Artificer, and then find it in the category that I've added to them, add it to another party. It gets complex when you're trying to.
Yeah, it certainly will. And again, with the time that we have, we're having to make some decisions between, do we hold up everything for some inconveniences there, or and again, knowing that this is slated and targeted for some kind of published product in the future helps us understand, okay, we will have some time between now and then, and hopefully we can introduce some other elements that will make that, potentially party inventory. I don't know if that'll happen beforehand or not, but either way, we definitely want the concept where we can have a class feature that can add equipment, directly to an inventory.
So where my homunculus and my turret live?
Yeah, so that's a really good question. So homunculus and turret are going to live in the creatures section of the. Now, this is a little bad because in the very short term, because a turret is not a creature. Okay. It is an object, but
it is if you name it.
Until this is big boy. Like, we're gonna pull out big boy here. The turret.
Sir shoots a lot.
So basically, that's kind of a temporary thing, because we do. I don't know if you guys have heard of this Ghosts of Saltmarsh thing. We have this concept of vehicles that are going to be covered in that product. So as we start to get those things together, and I'll be perfectly honest, at this point, we don't know this yet. So don't go out to Reddit or anywhere else and say vehicles are going to work like turrets on the Artificer, because this is my speculation, personal speculation. But the way that a turret seems to be statted out aligns with a lot of the playtest content for how vehicles could be structured. And so we will see exactly what happens there. But I imagine we will try to keep objects in one place, vehicles, turrets, anything else like that, and then living creatures in that section over time. But for now, they would live in the creatures.
Doesn't that turret walk?
I don't know. Does it? I don't remember reading it.
Doesn't it walk kind of like crab-like?
I have no idea.
It kind of feels like a construct.
I mean, it says it's an object and not a construct, though. So you got to take that up with Jeremy.
Well,
Maybe
Okay.
maybe they're getting feedback on it. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah,
How,
it's just a personal thing.
if they make it a construct, then it would be in the creatures section.
Yeah.
All right.
I had a very important question on Twitch. It was whether I like sweet tea, and I don't. I don't like sweet tea. It's a controversial answer. I'm sorry.
I can't do anything about that on camera right now, but yes.
I'm curious about one of the other latest updates. It says mobile beta character sheet. You said that wasn't painted yet, but how is that different than the mobile character sheet now?
Okay, so repeat the question.
I love you. I'm going to repeat the question for folks at home.
Yeah.
So the question was, for the mobile beta character sheet, how is that different than the character sheet on mobile now? And being perfectly honest, this has been kind of my point the whole time, is that the character sheet works pretty darn well in a mobile browser as it stands today. We do have a sizable portion of the community, however, that seems to want that functionality in the native mobile app, though. So right now in the native mobile app, we have e-reader functionality, listings, all the database things are in there. And all this is in beta in the mobile app. We are not done with it by any means. But we do have people that want the character sheet. One of the strongest, most compelling pieces of that is people are wanting the character sheet available offline. And that's where the native mobile app gives us that ability to do that, where a web browser obviously does not. We're not quite there yet. To be honest, 2 or 3 years from now, I'm pretty sure browsers are going to get there. But either way, where we currently are, the intent is to get it there. I want everyone to know that the first iteration of what you see in the mobile app for a character sheet will not be fully offline. I want to be very, very clear there. That's by far the hardest piece of this. If the offline component was not there, this would have been out a long time ago. Okay, so I want to be really, really clear about that. But so we're going to introduce it, make sure we don't have any interface issues while you're online or any of those kind of things initially, and then over time we will be peeling out pieces of that to work offline, starting with priorities like hit points and conditions and things that you would start using at the table. You're not going to necessarily be able to level up or anything offline initially, but you would be able to, in a setting like this where internet is pretty shoddy, be able to play that and should be fine with that.
The internet's doing its best. We
It's
don't
doing
need to
better.
hurt its feelings.
So you're saying that the character sheet will sync after it gets access back to the line online?
So the questions, the character sheet will sync after it's been offline. It will sync back to the live. Yes, that's definitely that's definitely the intent. And again, that's the hard part. Like that syncing is the hard part.
And I have a harder question.
Okay.
Is there any way to add hypertext tags into the notes? Because if I add like a companion creature, instead of having to stat it out in the notes, if I could just say he has a panther and then use the item ID to tag it to the hypertext of the character to mouse over.
Have you seen the creatures section on the sheet?
I've used it for.
Okay, so yeah, we might can dig into that a little bit. The question was potentially hypertexting in notes to easily and quickly reference the stats of a panther. But let's get together after this and let's talk through the creature section, because I think it's going to do what you want it to do. All right, I'm going to try to move on here because I want Todd to have plenty of time to talk. The DDB Discord bot showed that off a little bit last week. That is moving along, really nicely. The developers are very excited about it, making some really cool progress there. I imagine we will have that available for alpha pretty soon. So keep an eye out for that. Initially, you'll be able to access it on the D&D Beyond server. The intent over time is to make this bot available to use on your own Discord servers. So going to be a really, really handy resource.
It's extremely cool.
Yeah, it's really neat. I'm impressed with what they're doing already. All right, let's move on. So upcoming, we'll move through this pretty quickly. After mega menus and after some of the cleanup and after some bug tackling over the course of the next couple of sprints, we're going to start moving into additional login providers. So this is where you will be able to use other types of accounts instead of just a Twitch account to sign up.
Wouldn't that be lovely?
You'll be able to link that to your account. So we will start with Google and Facebook, and we will potentially add others over time. One of the things that we really want to do with this is we won't necessarily talk about the past because it's spilled milk, but ultimately one of the things that we have not been a fan of with a Twitch account from the beginning is it is prohibitive to children, and so via the terms of service, only 13-year-olds or older can sign up for a Twitch account, and obviously Google does not have that restriction in place. So that's one of the real driving forces here is we want D&D Beyond to absolutely be something for all ages. And I have a 10-year-old and a 14-year-old son. We play D&D all the time. It's very important to me for it to be a resource for all. Accessibility is important to us, whether that's age accessibility, device accessibility, or anything else. So we will start getting into that soon. Content management is a follow-up of that. That's blacklisting, whitelisting, different sources where your players can't read ahead of you in an adventure. My characters page updates. This page is a very important page for us, and it hasn't had enough love in a very long time. So we're going to make it a much better page. We're going to add in sorting. We're going to add in organization where you can find your characters. I'm
excited about content management because I'm tired of you, those people out there looking ahead in the Tomb of Horrors.
Did you just say you, like as in me?
Tomb of Annihilation, not you.
Okay, all right.
I'm not running you through Tomb of Annihilation.
I was about to say, yeah, you're not.
But there are people, it's hard. It's tempting when you have the book in there and you're like, well, this puzzle's pretty hard.
Now listen, we can't stop anybody from going to Barnes & Noble and doing that. But
I can. I can be hired.
Yeah.
I'll just say, wait, no.
He will be at the door.
Yeah.
Do you play Dungeons and Dragons?
Yeah, I'm the opposite of a Walmart greeter. Yeah.
So yeah, we're going to do some things there, and then AL validation is coming, where you can understand your player's handbook +1, restrict to point by, all the different guidelines there. We're going to start doing some things with that. All right, what's next? What we got?
Well, it's Todd. Oh my God! I don't even know what I'm going to talk about.
I want to down all 3 of these now. So yeah.
So yeah, currently I'm talking. So we it's been a little bit. The biggest thing I'm passionate about when it comes to original content, well, it's not the biggest, but it's pretty high up there, is just lore videos and deep dives with Jeremy Crawford, with Mike Merles, with Kate Welch, with Chris Perkins and Ari Levitch, and just getting. They're so overwhelmingly passionate and articulate about D&D. Getting them to just talk about it is my favorite thing. And the more videos that we can create with them and other people in the community that are that knowledgeable, the better. So we're going to be rolling out a lot more of those videos coming very soon. And there's also, and mainly it's just a device for me, for all the questions I personally have as a player. So like, I like to know where your soul goes if you're an undead, if you're not a vampire, but you're a skeleton. Like, these are the questions I want to like pick Jeremy Crawford's mind about, or the spells that are the most annoying, that are also inherited from D&D. Like, there's some spells that are really like problematic. Wish is kind of a nightmare. True Polymorph is kind of a nightmare. There's also different issues that I like about spells that, lightning and fireball are powerful on purpose. So I want to see I want more lore videos about the back end of why D&D became the way it is, and why 5th edition is the way it is currently. I think that helps a lot. And I think that helps a lot of players understand the game better. And I think it's going to help a lot of people who want to maybe design in the future, because I love to tinker and make subclasses and spells, but getting that insight as to, it's like someone who's just kind of worked out the math problems for you ahead of time. Like, why do the work when you can like listen to them explain it to you and learn? Basically, I would like to create D&D college on D&D Beyond, right? D&D University, where everyone, like, once you're done watching all my videos, you're like, okay, I got it. Like, I can start, I can move along. And to that end, that's like the more like seasoned D&D players, but I also want to create videos that will help if you've got someone in your life that wants to learn D&D, they can instantly get it. So I want some short videos that are like, this is the barbarian, this is the warlock, this is, you know, the sorcerer, really quick and dirty, fast explanations, so they know that this is probably for them. And also, here's the core mechanics you need to kind of think about. I think that's really good for children as well. I want to keep dungeon mastering live. That has been a surprisingly fun thing. I was terrified of it and of doing Heroes of the Veil at first, and now I'm definitely addicted and still terrified. We did get a question if flumps are going to become playable characters, by the way, and we'll see what we can do. I can homebrew it. So maybe that's your secondary. Maybe if Briv dies, you can be Flump.
Briv's not going to die.
He's going to die. He's not going to. Who knows?
Oh, he absolutely could.
So that's kind of the content plan, and definitely doing more live streaming. I think the dev updates, I'm extremely happy that we're doing them weekly. They may be hard on this person who is making the website, but they're really important. Seeing those stats. We're getting math now and stats about D&D that we've never had before because of D&D Beyond.
You guys like the data? How many of you have watched a dev update before? Like that? Okay, all right. So
that's a good haul.
Yeah.
For those at home, no one raised their hand.
Yeah,
it was really sad.
Crickets. I just acted like people raised their hand because
it was embarrassing.
You would never know the difference.
Lots of people watch the dev updates, and I watch the dev updates because we've kind of gotten to this point where you and I are both so busy that we can't even, like, I don't even know what's coming.
Yeah.
So it's a good way for us to check in live.
Yeah, there are a lot of things going on for sure.
So beyond that, I do have some other creative content plans I can't talk about yet, but I have some pie in the sky.
When are those things going to happen? Do you have a date?
For what, the secret stuff?
I was trolling. That's what I get. So,
I can tell you that we will start seeing lore videos, probably some really in-depth lore videos within the month. Start coming out on a regular basis again.
Oh, he's actually telling the date.
Yeah, I'm telling you. Yeah, within the month you're.
He's not a steel trap like I am.
No, I'm not gonna. I'm willing to be persecuted for my failures. Yeah, I shouldn't say, but no, I'm already setting up plans for interviews for a variety of topics in D&D with the team at Wizards. I've been wanting to get more into. Is it, for those who are in the room, are there a type of lore video that you've been the most interested in? How to become a lich? Yeah. Ooh. Oh, that's my favorite. I have Ben Richton's guide from 2nd edition. I still have it on on lichdom, on how to be a lich. And that one covers that quite a bit. And yes, I would like way more information on how to become a lich. So that's an excellent video.
I kind of want to understand what's going on in your campaign, actually, to be honest.
He's got a wizard. Yeah. What wizard doesn't want to be a lich?
What about lore for other worlds? I know we have a lot of Forgotten Realms.
I agree, and there will be more lore.
So the question was lore for other worlds.
Yes, I should. Hello, audience. Yeah, so the question is lore for other worlds, and I absolutely will do a deep dive. The deepest dive that I can with the staff at D&D, or I will try to talk about former editions. So, because I love a lot. I love almost all the worlds in D&D. And I'm obviously, there are a couple of things I'm a massive fan of. I've always been a massive fan of Ravenloft. I've always been a massive fan of Dragonlance. I played through all of the modules back in AD&D. I played as Raceland with the plan of winning. I'm going to get that godhood.
I can't wait to see your deep dive into the Hollow World.
Yeah, I'm going to do a deep dive into Hollow World, as we all want it. But yeah, that's definitely something I want to do. How about you?
Why are there name spells and whose names are they? I mean, I know a lot of that, but I would.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So the question is, why are there name spells and who are these people? I will. Yeah, my namesake Mordenkainen. I can definitely go into his history and why they created those spells. I just published a video about Melf. who is Luke Gygax, Gary Gygax's son, and he talks about how Melf's Acid Arrow came about, which is pretty ingenious and super annoying for spellcasters, as well as Melf's Minute Meteors, because sometimes we're not so great at the math. we're in a dungeon, and you have an unforgiving dungeon master / father when it comes to that, and you almost die. But yeah, I think those stories are great, and they also again help you learn. So yeah, we'll like Bigby. We completely have to do a lore video on Bigby, maybe a couple on Bigby. How about you?
Not a video request, but I don't have time to watch the videos. Is there any way you could release like the content in audio form on a podcast?
Yes, we've getting a lot. Okay, so the question is whether we can start releasing the video content in audio podcast form, and absolutely, I am going to do that. I'm going to say that. I've been wanting to do that for a long time, and I have formatted the show to be in a video podcast format. When I first started out, I come from a television background, and I use lots of B-roll, lots of footage, lots of art, and no one really wants. They just want to see people talk about the things they love, and that is far more affecting. So it is very much a This American Life version, but for D&D. And so we need to start praying. And obviously some of my segments have gone 30 minutes, so they're already a podcast. So yeah, we are looking into creating audio podcast formats for all of that stuff. Now, I don't think we always want a 5-minute audio podcast, so I will look into creating actual episodes as well that are on theme. So hope that answers your question.
I've been ripping Heroes of the Veil and turning it into audio just for myself.
Oh, wow. So you're watching Heroes of the Veil? How are you liking it?
He's listening.
You're listening? Yeah. Sorry. I'm sorry. Sorry. So, yeah. Are you enjoying it? You're on the spot.
He is in the cut.
Yeah, it is the cast of it is amazing, and it's wonderful to actually see everybody individually, like role playing the way they strike for a character, the way they swing their sword or what they do, or I mean, there's so many players that like they'll role play for the first 15 minutes, and then they start rolling, and it's I hit, I do damage or whatever. It's really great to see all of the description in the actual role playing.
It's really important. What he just said was he's talking about the fact that like combat is very descriptive, and the players are always descriptive about their combat. And if you're dungeon master, I think that's also really important to encourage them to describe what they're doing rather than tell them what they're doing, because they will often come up with something so much more badass than what you say. So let your players do some of the heavy lifting.
We got a few questions in chat I want to swing to real quick because some are really good that I think you guys are going to care about here too.
It better be about content.
Yeah. No, it's not. You're cut off. You have 10 minutes left. That's it.
Wow, that was rude.
Your segment is over.
You're rude.
All right. So I don't know how to say this. Nalidia Prani. Sorry about that.
Well done.
Are there plans on an initiative tracker to go with the encounter builder? So it's a very good question, and the answer is yes. It's probably more of a question of when, though. So to let you know what is going to be coming for the initial wave of alpha is you will be able to create an encounter. You will be able to go back and view the list of encounters that you've created, and then you will be able to see the details of that encounter. But initially, you will not be able to run that encounter. But by the time we leave alpha and we get into just full public release, which we'll call beta, as we get into that point, there will be essentially what we've been calling a page 4 of encounters that is going to allow you to run the encounter, including initiative tracking, including the PC management in conjunction with the monster management. So yes, that is absolutely coming. But it is not going to be available right out of the gate with the encounter builder. That's the thing that gets us in trouble sometimes. Again, we want to iterate. We want to do small chunks. We want to continue to add value over time, and that's a really good example of how that's going to work. Let's see. This one's really cool too. From Pepper MD. I'm a huge fan of how the digital character sheet's laid out with the ability to quickly swipe between different pages. It's a cool way to navigate between a lot of different information. Are there any plans on making the digital DM screen very similar on mobile? So I can't answer that comprehensively yet because we have not gotten into really the design of that yet. But I strongly imagine that whatever is going to happen for the digital DM screen on desktop, there's going to be a lot of dragging and dropping and allowing you to position elements where you want them for quick and easy reference. On mobile, I don't really see a great way for that working without some swiping mechanism. So the chances are very high that it would take on some kind of form like you're suggesting there. Looks like the next one is a bug that I'm not sure we're aware of or not, but 19 Gaming looks like the hamburger menu is not showing up on Safari. We hate Safari, so just stop using Safari. No, I guess that won't be my official answer, but yeah, we'll look into that. Someone on the team is hearing this right now and is going to start looking into that. Dropbear ate my baby. The alpha, every time I say it, the alpha testing for the DDB bot on Discord. Who will that include? Anyone that is on the Discord server. So it's not going to be subscribers only for the Discord bot. Let me see. Classy Spider, any chance of a revamp of the campaign management, as in more note segments for each session? I wouldn't say that it's really a revamp as much as it is just actually doing it. We haven't done much with campaign management. It's all very basic and primarily has served as a vehicle for us to allow content sharing to be a thing. So we absolutely have plans to do more and more with that over time when we can get to it. Not Jez, just a couple more of these. Any chance to get the Twitch extension in a browser extension for players' quick reference? We don't have any current plans for that. So basically, talking about the Twitch extension, have you guys seen the Twitch extension? How many of you watch Critical Role? Okay. Yeah, that's what I expected. A lot of hands went up there too for you at home. But the Twitch extension, really, really cool thing. I like the way that works on the overlay. And the question is, can we do something like a browser extension? My hope is, as we start to move forward into initiative tracking and combat tracking, you're not going to want a browser extension to do that. You're just going to be doing it within DDB. NJC 9506. Let's see. I noticed that all the homebrew categories have the option to filter by the number of ads as well as the rating, except for races. Is this an oversight or intentional? Oversight. Hopefully somebody's listening. We'll get that addressed. Let's see. One more here, and then we're going to come back to the folks in the room with us. Myriadis, where can I get that hoodie and other merch? Well, right now you can try to join fandom, and we can hire you, and you can come in and you can get this hoodie. We are trying to work on merch. There are all kinds of business realities and licensing considerations that, to be honest, I wish I could just, wad up and throw into a fireplace somewhere. But we're working on it, and I imagine you will start to see some merchandise from D&D Beyond before too much longer. Let's see. Yeah, so some from Subsist Cyber, such a terrible username.
It's the worst.
He's one of our moderators. Will you be on any streams while you're partying at GaryCon? No, I don't think I have any other streams, but I have some roleplay roulette games that are going to be a lot of fun. So if any of you are signed up, I'm looking forward to that. We have maybe.
I think I'm on one stream actually with my
are you?
girls.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure.
Good. Yeah. So maybe Todd is. We've got about 5 minutes. You guys have any other questions here? Yes.
On the D&D Beyond app, like on my phone, which is what I actually use most while I'm DMing. When I want to save a monster, for example, I often put whatever room or region of a dungeon or whatever, adding monsters to a subfolder rather than just a single folder, so I can organize them better and not have to have just a dozen folders where I have to, repeatedly, look for them. I can categorize them.
Yeah. So a little more feedback than question there, but to summarize, on the mobile app, trying to bookmark monsters and organize them. And right now they're organized pretty flatly into a single folder. We absolutely over time would want to give you much more organization capability. Another consideration is we would anticipate the encounter builder and the grouping mechanisms you would have available in that. Hopefully we'll kind of hit the use case that you're going for there, because the idea is that's what you're running. We want to tie that to rooms and locations on maps. We want to eventually get to interactive maps where you have the map itself. You can click a pin on the map. It tells you everything about an encounter, tells you about that trap at the door. It tells you about, the features in the room, the read aloud text, any of those kind of things would theoretically be on these interactive maps as we move forward. But so long answer there, but yes, we have better organization absolutely coming to that.
I've got a real-time update real quick. Yes, I will actually be also doing a bunch of lore videos with Luke Gygax, additional ones being shot here at the con. So Luke Gygax, we're going to go deeper into the inception of D&D, as well as some of his Dungeon Master tips and player tips that he's learned. I expect he knows things that only he can know.
He knows where the bodies are
He knows
buried.
where all the bodies are buried.
Yeah.
Well, we're going to shoot it today, and I'm not telling you where.
That's a private shoot. Yeah. Question.
Is there any way that you do temporary health, but so mage armor gets cast or warlock gets armor,
Yeah. So
AC doesn't show up.
So the question is about temporary AC.
Yeah, and to be honest, we can apply that to just really any type of temporary effect. So whether that's you're raging now, we've been sharing for some time that all of those temporary effects, even things like wild shape, any of those things, we are absolutely going to cover them, but that is something that is very likely to not be added until we get really to this point where we have character management in a good place, and it's in a reasonably good place now. And then we're trying to get monster and challenge management in a really, really good place. And then when we stick those two things together into combat tracking and all of that, and we have a sense of time, i.e. rounds and all that kind of stuff, all these temporary effects would start to come in at that point in time. So it's a whole system that would be built for any kind of temporary effect, including mage armor. Yeah.
I'm not sure if you guys are planning this, or are you ever planning on having like magic items have whatever effect, like necklace of prayer beads, like where you roll and then you get certain spells with that?
Yes, absolutely. So that's a very good question. So the question is like necklace of prayer beads, roll and you get a spell tied to that specific instance of that magic item. This is really important because the same system that would be built to handle that would essentially be the system that we would use to finally give spells to scrolls and a variety of things like that. So that is something that we know. Even with the artificer, we toyed around. The artificer gets a feature that's like spell storing item. We're still not going to cover that incredibly well right now, but we do know that that's something that we're going to get to pretty soon because so many things use that we'll get a lot of wins across the board when we get that, pin a spell to an item system in place.
I got a question.
Okay. What's your question? All right.
When are we getting a giveaway?
Right now. So in chat, we are almost out of time. In chat, you've got to type something. It doesn't matter what that thing is. You can say that you like my hoodie. You're never going to get one. No, I'm just joking. You can say whatever you need to say, and we're going to give away a legendary bundle.
Say Todd Pack.
Yeah, you say Todd Pack. You can say whatever you want to do.
Shave your head.
So I'm looking, Will, I guess you can Slack me with that winner in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. You slack one of us. One of us has got to see it. Yeah. All right. Up V2 Blast. I know that person. So V2 Blast, congratulations. You won a legendary bundle. And we are going to go ahead and end the stream, but we actually have like 30 more minutes here.
Why can't
and
we
we're
keep
gonna
going?
No, because we're not.
Is there another show?
It's not the schedule. Yes, there's another show on the D&D channel. So
Who is
we're
this
going to
show?
have to cut the stream, and the special guests that we have here at GaryCon are going to get to keep chatting with us for a little while, and they might get a bundle or something also. But we really appreciate you guys joining us this week. I believe we will have we should have a show next week as well. So we'll see you then. Thanks a lot.
Bye.